Welcome back, everyone, to another Company of Heroes 2 replay cast, and this time we have a 2v2 sent in by Klaus, of course. The Americans. He's AFK. All of that. His buddy is going to be Pisk. I mean, I don't know. I think this is supposed to be something, and then there's Shk. I just don't even know anymore. And the enemies are going to be Hafte 71 and Velensitishk. Yes, it was played on 420. Happy birthday, Adolf Hitler. Yes, sure. I'm casting this 9 days after the replay was played, and it's probably going to be up like 9 days after that. So that's, yeah, I mean, you're probably all going to be out of the loop for that. But anyway, sure, the Germans are happy about this. I wonder why. So the map is fields of like Winnekek or something. Winnekendonk. Right, it's the map with the annoying like fields everywhere. You know, no cover anywhere along the map. A couple of buildings on the right side, if I recall correctly. Yeah, it's a couple of buildings on the right side. First engagement, not really anything important, and then a couple of buildings on the left side. So yeah, it's like two tiny towns plus a big field in the center. I already played, or I casted one game on this. I believe it was the one with like 17 million riflemen. Yeah, anyway. Poor Sturm Pioneers getting kind of double teamed, and well, they do force away the re-echelon troop. They're probably just going to get creamed by riflemen, and they're also getting flanked by bloody conscripts. Oh no, we shall have to run away, say the Sturm Pioneers, and yeah, they get veterancy 1, so that's fine for them. Will they go down? No, they will not. The conscripts can't really aim. Velensitich is actually going with mechanized doctrine or whatever it is, mechanized assault, and he's getting out a fuckload of assault grenadiers. Look at this. Wait, why do you have a Panzer Grenadier? This squad, for some reason. What are you doing here? Get back to your unit, you mongoloid. Yeah, there's some more. Oh, looks like it's kind of like a sergeant guy. Oh, okay. So every squad has that. See, I thought it was just kind of like a random bug or something. No. Okay, so actually one of the guys is a Panzer Grenadier. Sure, I wonder if he has different stats. Would be a little bit like in Company of Heroes 1. The rifleman squads had like a radio man with an M1 carbine instead of an M1 Garand, or the Volksgrenadiers would have a sergeant guy with like an STG-44 that fired bursts that did more damage. I don't know. That would be kind of cool. Right now, it seems like the allies are kind of double teaming on the right. As you can see, these conscripts getting behind the little what would you call that? It's like a place. It's like the place where you put things for pigs, right? But I don't know how to call it in English. Anyway, it seems like the Allied infantry will force away those Volksgrenadiers taking cover there, and right now their right side will fall completely to Allied domination. However, the Specular has happened on the left side, and the glorious Assault Grenadiers of Doom are now going to advance. Oh no, it's Assault Grenadiers. Of course, Assault Grenadiers did get a little bit of a change in the last patch. Maybe it was the one before. Still though, they're a little bit better than what they used to be. Still not sure I'd really go for them. I mean, as you can see, MP40 is not really the most effective at medium to long ranges. In the center, it seems like the OKW is trying desperately to at least get 1 point under his control, and that's going to work, forcing away that Maxim. So, Pishk is, Pishk is trying to get out some machine guns. But partially because he had to send some guys to help out the right side, partially because the Assault Grenadiers are just way too glorious, and partially because he spread out his left-hand side's forces way too much between the center and the actual left-hand side. He is forced to escape out of there. In the meantime, the riflemen are coming in to help, and they can probably recap the center, so Kvas is making a good use of that early game superiority of the American firepower. And now he's coming in with those Garands, absolutely mowing down those Volksgrenadiers, forcing them back into the base. However, a challenger has appeared, a SWS flak supply half-track. I wonder what it's going to do. It's going to set up a battle quarters, of course, straight behind these trees in a slightly covered position. I mean, it's not It's not the most well-hidden spot ever. It's not the most well-covered spot either. And it looks like it will be spotted by these conscripts if they decide to peekaboo out of here. And they do decide to peekaboo out of there. Oh, what is this? What is this? It's a battle headquarters. It's lucky that there's Sturm Pioneers over here. Otherwise, you know, these riflemen could like try a mad dash for it and try to kill the battle group headquarters or something, which would be pretty bad. As it is, though, it will go up and it will provide some great medical and reinforcement support to the Nazi units trying to assault over the center. The same thing is happening, however, spectacularly to the south side, which is this ambulance. It's a little bit like one of those bad first-person shooter multiplayer maps where the spawn points are just like right next to each other, and people constantly spawn in and try to fight, and you know, kind of like that map in Call of Duty 5 or whatever. Sorry, it was actually not the 5th one. It was Black Ops or something. Anyway, I haven't played Call of Duty in ages. I don't know. Oh boy, Maxims. The Maxims are just being all blocking detachment all over these assault grenadiers with the help of the Americans. Just superior firepower, absolutely obliterating those two squads and leaving the third one in tatters, back, running, scared, I don't know, not happy. So a very good little victory for the Allies, taking down a lot of Germany's not finest, clearly, because otherwise they wouldn't have done that. The reason why they died so quickly, one was because the Maxims, you know, pretty effective. Two, it was because the Americans very nicely came into support, and three, because they ran into negative cover. Never the best idea. And how the fuck does this work? Can anyone please tell me how the fuck this works? So a completely destroyed truck most likely does not have the electrical battery actually working. So how the fuck do the lights work? I don't know, man. Company of Heroes. Company of Heroes. Alright, so the Americans have decided to gather up their ball sacks and attack. However, it's not the best decision ever because, of course, these guys can just reinforce out of the battle group. You know, what literally just happened to the Germans, because the Allies could not really be forced back if they kept getting their units back up. Anyway, it's kind of helping with these mortars. Like, the American and Soviet infantry moving in is providing spotting for the mortars. The German indirect fire is trying to counter. There's a couple of mortars over here, but they do get hit by a flame grenade, the Molotov cocktail by the conscripts. And so that's only going to leave the LEJG support gun in place to actually counter battery the Allied stuff. There's the assault grenadiers coming in, but they're getting absolutely obliterated once again by Allied small arms fire. And they'll probably even succumb to the riflemen. No, they're lucky. The Germans just barely in time managed to get up a MG-34 from the rear, which is going to stop this Allied push onto the battle headquarters. However, the battle headquarters will still be under mortar fire throughout this entire time, most likely. The American mortar has moved up very aggressively. It does not have, unfortunately, the smoke barrage because it was using its barrage to target the German concentration around here and the little building itself. So yeah, despite this machine gun kind of stopping the Allied breakthrough, although the captain has decided to, you know, if there's a machine gun on the other side of the battle group headquarters, let's just hide behind it and fire our bazookas. So this is really putting down some good hurt on him. Despite this, the Allies are doing very well. They've even managed to recapture the left-hand side, of course, because the Germans were getting pushed so heavily up in the center. They were forced to withdraw some of their forces from their left-hand side and push them all the way to the center, which left the left-hand side completely open. However, because of this, now they are trying to a bit of a counterattack. They will push in a flame half-track. There are no anti-tank weapons, no anti-tank grenades either for Pushk or Pishk. He does have an anti-tank gun, but it's in the wrong position at the wrong time, so the half-track will easily just roast up those conscripts and, yeah, push them back to base. Of course, now the Grenadiers can cap these points, so they're gonna cap the fuel point. That's fine, and yeah, that's all okay for the Germans. They're still under some pretty nasty pressure over here in the center. Some units of them are finally moving to the right side. These Volksgrenadiers having the right idea. Hafta 71 has also decided to pick Elite Armored, and Pishk has shock mortar, so we'll see some pretty nasty self-propelled artillery coming in later on. of course, heavy assault gun, SU-152, and the Derptiger, all being very, very effective at dealing with enemy infantry. Here comes the flank from the half-track, but it's a flank onto an AT gun that's waiting. So right now, the anti-tank gun will be like, thank you very much, and I'll shoot you. And there we go. Well done, anti-tank gun, getting the kill on that flame. Of course, the flame half-track did get a mortar, so partially fulfilling its mission and slowing down the enemy destruction of the battle quarters, and also giving, I guess, the Germans a little bit of extra time to recruit their mortars and support guns, which is all just fine. However, this thing is still very, very heavily damaged. It's getting repaired by Sturm Pioneers, but if the Allies can get their mortars back together and back firing at the battle headquarters, they can kill it relatively quickly. Also, now that the flame half-track is destroyed, these 76mm field gun might be moved up. If it's moved up like around over here, it's going to be in range to artillery barrage this thing. If it's moved up to around over here, it's going to just direct fire. So that could be pretty bad. What could also be pretty bad for the Germans, and there's many things right now that can go pretty bad for the Germans, but one of the worst ones is that artillery. Another thing that's going pretty bad is this upgrades that's going on from Kavas. Kavas has the whatchamacallit, the weapon racks, and he's also got 260 munitions in the bank, so he can go with a lot of those upgrades, can get a lot of BARs on his infantry, and also maybe some bazookas on, does he still have the re-echelons? Yes, he does. So maybe some bazookas onto these guys will prevent any kind of shenanigans from German armor coming in. So far, nothing like that is in the works. Villensticktisch does have 88 fuel, but he might want to save up for Stugis or something. He might also want to upgrade battle phases. Hafte doesn't have tier 4 or tier 3, so nothing yet. However, the Allies are getting some shenanigans with the T-70, and that's going to be easily enough destroying those assault grenadiers. In the meantime, the Volksgrenadiers are also getting destroyed, this time by the American infantry over here. However, they do manage to get some pressure off on the Allies. They try to force them back and destroy them, but they can only kind of chase them off. They can't really wipe out any of these squads, so the Germans will just continue their rampaging, and we'll be just fine for them. T-17 combat.
Enemy forces are capturing our supplies. MG squad awaiting orders. Prepare for orders.
Yeah, nothing really much is going on. Oh no. Oh no. Poor captain. Poor captain. No captain, my captain. That was, yeah, that was obviously going to happen. Anyway, so the battle group headquarters is now rebuilt from Hafte 71. And nothing really too important is happening. The Germans are recapturing the right side field. That's fine, but it's only a harassment really at this point. Like, once this is done, the Americans can come back around with these riflemen and, you know, kindly tell them to escape. Remove yourself from the premises. In the meantime, it seems like we have some recon going over the German lines. That's going to spot the massive, just creeping army of weapons that's moving in. We've got mortars, we've got ATs, we've got machine guns, and these are just doing their best, their damn best to push back the Allied army of weapons. Which, I guess it's fine. This guy is not on retreat point, so the Major right now not really being the most useful person ever. However, the Riflemen have recaptured the fuel point. That was to be expected. And the Americans do have a Sherman, so that's a very, very good unit. Very, very good unit to kill a lot of Nazis. So I think that this is a pretty good decision out of him. Valenstitisch has decided to switch around his tactics a little bit. Instead of spamming assault grenadiers, he's spamming normal grenadiers and assault grenadiers. So that's of course really starting to dent his manpower reserves a little bit. That's a lot of purchases. But he's also managed to get Battle Phase 2, which I guess is okay for him. Here comes the Sherman. And oh no, it's a tier 4 unit. What shall we ever do? Say the Germans? I have no idea, they also say, because they're not even using the second Panzerfaust. Use a Panzerfaust. No, Use HE rounds! What the hell? So these guys are really lucky that the Sherman decided not to fire HE rounds, but I think that the Sherman can still... Oh, that's so lucky. That would have been a wipe, definitely. Rickenriffer tries to move in, but yeah, the Sherman smartly decides to get himself behind some hedgerows. And guess what? Rickenriffer can't fire on him anymore. The left side, it seems like we have some Grenadiers doing their thing. That's going to be putting pressure on the sort of central fortress that the Allies have set up. What's also going to set up pressure on a central fortress is the Sherman moving on the German central fortress. But here we do have some defenses set up to deal with that. So yeah, the Allies are going to need to be kind of careful lest they get flanked by this horde of Grens, and that would not be very, very good. Oh no, oh no, poor Grenadiers. Okay, they're running away. Here comes another major recon. Just kind of spotting what the hell is going on with the Germans. We do have a flak half, not a flak half track, sorry, a supply half track moving in. And here comes the big push for the Nazis. What are they trying to do? Well, they're trying to get to this point, I guess, but oh boy, here comes some shock troops. Shock troops from those shock mortar heavy tactics. Of course, they're very, very effective against enemy infantry, but against 4 squads, yeah, they're gonna have to escape as well. The 4 squads are taking fire from the mortars, but none of the machine guns are moving around and turning their radius to fire on the Grenadiers. The approaching Grenadiers are getting fired at by the T-70 light tank, but the T-70 light tank will take some Panzerfaust to the face, so that might not be the best thing. Where is the Rickenriffer? Where the hell is the Rickenriffer? It's back at base. So luckily for the T-70, that thing was not ready to fire, and once again, the flanking Grenadiers get absolutely obliterated, being lucky to escape with a few men left in their units, and their units not being wiped out completely by the Allied superior firepower. So the Allies are still doing very well and pushing the Germans quite, I guess you could say, aggressively, but also being forced sometimes onto the defensive. The Germans are starting to strike out a little bit more, and that's of course quite good for them, because if the Germans allow the Allies to just keep this initiative going, well, they're down to 299. Oh boy, that's okay. So he has discovered what HE rounds are, but he got kind of unlucky. So what's going to happen is that slowly but surely the Allies will just drain them of VPs, and eventually, oh my goodness, that Sherman is being effective. Is that going to be a Panzerfaust? Most likely, but can the guy follow up? No, he cannot. Rickenriffer is forced to escape. We've also got a light artillery barrage coming down on the American forces, kind of killing a lot of guys. That's pretty bad. Pretty bad. They're forced back at base. The ambulance is still there, and one of the mortars is the crude. In the meantime, the Sherman will have to repair. So the Axis finally able to mount up a decent offensive thanks to the help of that off-map border barrage. See, what I was saying is that if the Allies are allowed to just continue on hammering down on static Axis positions, then at some point the Axis will not be in the best position ever, and they will be forced back to their base and probably just be kind of sitting back the whole game, getting pounded and being passive and not really achieving anything. But now the Germans are back in shape. They're just kind of trying to come in. They're building up their defenses over the center. They are using their superior in terms of numbers infantry. Like the Allies have the better quality of infantry, but the Germans have the higher numbers, which is usually the reverse, but this time it is this way. And so it's going okay for the Axis on that regard. This is allowing the Axis, their superior numbers, to have more map control. That combined with the fact that the Allies have such a heavy focus on the center. They have most of their troops and their weapons stationed over the central part of the map. So this is making them, one, more vulnerable to artillery fire. Oh, there goes one of those Grenadiers. And two, it's making them, it's making their map projection essentially less effective. So the Germans on the flanks are doing much better than they ought to be. Yeah, it's also allowing the Germans a little bit more creative room to actually attack the Allied positions. As you can see, they're always able to kind of outflank the Allies while not really doing anything too radical. It's not like they've been coming from like the rear or anything. Here comes a Katyusha barrage. It missed everything. So essentially the Germans, it's not like they're coming from the rear or anything. They're always kind of coming from the mild sides. but it's still flanking the allies. And that's, of course, quite good for them.
We are losing a sector.
Will he chase? Okay, I'm not sure I agree with not chasing, but I can definitely see why he wouldn't want to, considering that his last vehicle that came down this road got kind of obliterated by an AT gun. And the AT gun was indeed moving in. So now the allies, they do have some artillery, some extra artillery. They do have the Katyusha. That's going to be very effective against the mortar, which is up to 26 kills. That's a glorious mortar. 26 plus 13 equals 39. That is some mortars and a half. Plus 9 kill support gun. That is kind of mounting up the pressure on the allied forces here. Here comes a grenade on the Panzer IV. And what I was saying is that now that the allies have that artillery piece, that's going to be good. However, oh, yes! 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 I love this thing. What? Why? No, no, no! Half to 71. Oh my god, no. Why? Holy fucking shit. You can't see my expression right now. And even if you had a webcam, you couldn't see my expression because I'm covering my face with my hands because that was just so sad. It could have killed a T-70 and an ambulance. That would have been like what? The ambulance is like what, 10 fuel or something? 510 fuel? 10 fuel. 250 manpower. The T-70 is like 300 manpower and 70 fuel. No, sorry, 26. So 510 manpower and 80 fuel. That would have almost paid back the Derptiger. Well, would have needed a little bit more when it comes to the fuel, but definitely when it comes to the manpower. And as I always say with like these units, with like these blob wipers, I guess you could say, artillery, Derptiger, you know, things of that sort. It's a lot more effective the first time than the other ones, because the first time, maybe they're just not thinking about it. They're not in the mindset of, okay, I need to avoid my blob getting destroyed by a Derptiger or by a Katyusha barrage or something like that. So missing the first time is actually very, very sad. So let's take a look at the overall strategic situation after that last engagement. While the Germans completely whiffed their Derptiger shot, they have managed to secure the central VP. They're managing to secure the left-hand side, mostly with the help of this Panzer IV and the blobs of Grenadiers. They're still able to put up some pressure on the right side. So the Allies have been forced back in the center. They are forced to deploy more forces on the right side, and they've still got this gaping hole in their defensive lines. That is this left side. So they're kind of embattled on all fronts, and they're in a bad way as a whole. So what the Allies need to do is they need to try to take the Germans by surprise in some way, because they have been doing essentially the same thing for the past 20 minutes or something. They've tried to get a lot of stuff together in the center, and they've tried to win by using that a lot of stuff against the Germans. What they now need to do is, one, they need to, you know, pick up on German mistakes like that, and two, need to find some other avenue of an attack. They need to find some way to attack the enemy in ways that they do not expect. And, well, they also need to attack the enemy, because earlier on they weren't really attacking for the past like 5 or 6 minutes, which allowed the Germans to recover. And it's a start that they're starting to put more units on the flanks, especially their tanks. And the Katyusha can also help out in this, of course, putting up pressure against this German central position. Oh boy. What the fuck is it doing? What the fuck is it doing? I know. At least it didn't try to fire on this guy. Didn't miss. Oh, but he sees the machine gun. Will that by accident kill this way? No, it will not, but it will kill the machine gun. It will also prompt this T-34-76 to ram it, which might not have been the best decision ever. It only stunned the Derptiger, and the Derptiger can now just kind of move away. T-34-76 dies to the Raketenwerfer, and that's another good thing about the Derptiger. It's not just, you know, very, very cool, you know, and not just a troll and not just able to destroy enemy blobs or anything like that. It also kind of makes the enemy's tunnel vision onto it, because you see, oh, hello, because you see, oh no, it's a Derptiger. It's big, it's scary, it's expensive, it can kill my stuff. Let's go kill it. And then they pour a bunch of resources onto it, and then you can build traps around it, cover it with AT guns and all that. So the Pershing that's on the field, actually, I didn't notice the Klaus had gone for the heavy cavalry company, so that was kind of a surprise for me. And I'm pretty sure it was a surprise for the Germans as well, because these Rangers came up at the same time as the Pershing did. So no earlier indication that that was going to be the doctrine. Means that the Pershing now has a few minutes where the enemies will have less than ideal counters to it on the field. We've got 2 Raketenwerfers and a Panzer IV in terms of AT, and that's about it. And against the Pershing, that is not the best ever. It's not very adequate, especially when it comes to the AT gun department. Oh boy, here comes Katyusha. Can Katyusha do a lot of damage? It's not been doing that great so far. That's the 3rd barrage it's participated in. It's doing some damage to the battle headquarters, but not really having the best of impacts as a whole. Oh, but the Americans, we managed to get the riflemen nearby, and that is enough spawning for the precision bombing strike, which wipes out the Sturm Pioneers. Il-2 Sturmovik coming in, the glorious wings of Mother Russia, and the Sturmovik drops some very, very nicely placed bombs on that thing. Is that going to be a wipe? No, it isn't. It's kind of unfortunate that the Americans were not able to follow up with anything else, or rather the Allies as a whole were not able to follow up with anything else to destroy the battle headquarters, but still, that's a good pickup on an enemy unit. Also now, now the Allies can really try to finish it off with mortar fire. There's one more mortar over here, which is not really being used, and yeah, there we go. The Allied tanks are now moving in, mercilessly slaughtering every German unit that they encounter in their path, absolutely wiping out another Raketenwerfer. So right now, one of the Raketenwerfers is dead. Where is the second one? It is, well, it's back at base. It was reinforcing. The bunker is destroyed. The Panzer IV tries to flank around, but it's in a bad position as it's getting fired upon by the 90mm of the Pershing. The Derptiger also decides to get himself in the fight. However, he missed his shell, I think, and then decided to reload right in the face of the American armor, which is a bad decision. And here comes another precision bombing strike, almost destroying the battle headquarters, but destroying a lot of enemy troops in the process. Can the American Sherman destroy the Derptiger? Most likely. The Pershing is firing on the SDKFZ half-track. The Grenadiers are trying to flank in. Half-track is kaput. In the meantime, the other, half-track, the supply one, is also kaput. The Raketenwerfer is trying to destroy the Sherman. It does manage to destroy the Sherman. Can the Pershing finish off the Raketenwerfer? No, it cannot. It also cannot finish off the Derptiger because its shell kind of disappears into thin air, and so the Derptiger will escape with next to no HP. Incredibly lucky that the Pershing's shell bugged out. Well, I mean, it didn't really bug out. It probably just rolled a miss, and then the graphics bugged out. So the Pershing is going to escape with the cover of the smoke screen from the heavy cavalry company. That was still very, very effective for the Allies in terms of an offensive. It killed a lot of Germans. However, oh boy, this could be very, very bad. The T-3476 is still repairing. The Pershing is still not repaired, however, and it's getting chased after by a Jagdpanzer 470. Jagdpanzer 470, which will chase through the smoke screen. Will it finish off the Pershing? It does pop the heat rounds. It, however, also pops the emergency repairs, which kind of stops it, and the Pershing gets out of its line of sight. In the meantime, the Rangers decide not to get on the AT gun, which might be a bad decision, and the Jagdpanzer 470 also escapes out of there. So despite kind of a lot of, essentially both sides getting very, very heavily battered, and a lot of units dying, and a lot of units being destroyed or heavily damaged or something like that, and despite both sides, again, kind of coming out with their wounds having to be licked, I would say that the Allies definitely won this engagement, as now their position is is kind of a lot better than it used to be. They've got the sort of initiative back on their track. They're now more able to put up forces all over the map. They're pushing on the left. I'm not gonna show it right now because I'm, because I want to look at the Pershing. But yeah, it's just going better a little bit for the Allies right now. However, here comes the Tiger. So there's, not just the Sturm Tiger. There's also the normal Tiger, and oh boy. The Pershing does decide to throw a grenade on it, but it's in a bad position. It's getting hit by the Panzer IV. It's getting hit by the Jagdpanzer 470. It's getting hit by the Tiger's 88mm, and so it's forced to escape. There goes also the captain from the Tiger's fire. So of course here the big sort of late game call-in pick for Wellensittich is going to do its job, and especially this American infantry push is going to be pretty vulnerable to it. In the meantime, the Tiger is going to be kind of attacked by the T-34-76. For some reason, the Ram comes in. That might not be the best idea ever. I mean, it's going to slow down the Tiger, but that was actually an amazing idea. I had forgotten that that was a thing. Very well done. Very well done. That is a tactic that I forgot about, but it does work, and that is going to destroy the Tiger. So what happened, in case you missed it, is that the L2 precision bombing strike came right after the T-34 Ram. What you do is you ram your T-34. That's actually probably what was trying to happen. Or, I don't know. So you have your T-34, you ram it into an enemy tank, preferably a very expensive Tiger. And then what you do is you pop down that precision bombing strike. The main problem with this thing is that its accuracy is very, very good, but it's like the time that the bomber takes to fly in is quite heavy, quite high, I guess you could say. Like, it takes a long time for the bomber to actually reach the target. So it gives a lot of time for the enemy to escape and dodge the bombing strike. So, of course, that's what the Ram comes in for. The Ram is a long stun, usually. And then it was followed up very, very well by Kvass's rifleman, putting down an anti-tank grenade on it. So that allowed the L2 to get in on target and be in time to destroy the Tiger, because this thing does a lot of damage. Oh boy, shock troops moving in. Here comes the Katyusha. Okay, that was not the best ever. The Germans are now pushing in. I wonder what they'll try to do. They might be trying to go for the Panzer, or rather the Panzer IV might be trying to go for the Katyusha. Not yet. We have been honored for our courage, comrades. So, yeah. Oops. What the hell? Derptiger, what the fuck are you doing? Oh boy, here comes the anti-tank grenade. It's actually kind of damaged. Oh, luckily for it, it's not enough damage to destroy the engine. But can the rifleman get the kill on the engine? Yeah, it's in a very, very bad position. Where the hell is the Pershing? Oh, it's back at base repairing. That's always the problem with the Pershing, because... Oh, what the fuck? Why? What the fuck is happening? The Germans are being so incompetent, and the Allies are also being incompetent. What the fuck? I don't know what anyone is doing here in the center. Like, this is just the fight of the derps. It's kind of like a... It's the World War II equivalent of a pillow fight. Like, they're literally just kind of trying to slap each other. But they're failing. They're hideously failing. However, you know, while they're trying to fight with pillows, here comes a guy with a fucking battle axe. Or a hammer. So, Isu-152... probably will not be as incompetent as everyone else. The Rangers are also not very incompetent. They do get an excellent grenade. And here comes the first shot of the Isu-152. Right now, oh, here comes also a very, very good Katyusha barrage, but luckily for the Germans, it's just kind of barely mistargeted, because he thought that the Germans were going to run away. And he was correct, only he was incorrect in the time assignment or time assessment. The Germans do take a little bit longer than expected to run away. In the meantime, also more German troops are being forced to escape. So the German infantry is completely in tatters and is forced to escape back to base. This is a bad decision. Going for the Stug E at this point is just way too late. I myself would have just waited either for the battle phase 4 or for another Tiger. So that's Wellenstich's problem. He's also going for 3 mortars. I'm not sure why. All of this as a whole is just allowing the Allies to regain their momentum. They had been blunted for a little bit because the Pershing was back at base repairing. So again, the problem with the Pershing is the fact that normally the Americans have problems when it comes to repair speed if it's not, you know, if it's not a vehicle crew that's doing it. Because of course the vehicle crew can repair pretty quickly, but the re-echelon troops take a while to do so. Sorry, I need to blow my nose. Hope you didn't pick that up, elsewise that would have been pretty gross, I would say. Still though. So, because the Pershing can't get the crew out, because, you know, obviously you don't want people being allowed to get 2 Pershings with the vehicle crew trick, because the Pershing can't drop its crew out, it can't really do anything when it comes to repair, at least. Well, that's the best place to push Stug ever. Or at least the Stug. Oh no, what is it doing? He's lucky that that rifleman squad does not have Vet 1. But no, it was a trap. I mean, it wasn't even really a trap. It was just him running into the entire enemy line. Like, what was it thinking? Dumb Tiger. Oh no, it's Dumb Tiger 2.0. God damn it, this guy. I'm gonna have to screenshot this guy. I'll just screenshot. This will be the thumbnail. It will be Derptiger. I'll just put like, okay, so I'll screenshot it like this, right? No, hold on. I'll do it like, okay, hold on. Oh my god, 60 FPS, what the fuck? Company of Heroes 2 running at 60 FPS, that's impossible. Okay, I'll put it like this, right? And there we go. And I'll just put the derp eyes around it. Because, yeah. That's gonna be the thumbnail for this video. It will just be derp eyes around the Derptiger. Alright, let's speed it up. Not really much is going on. It's just like, kind of like the Germans trying to attack, but really failing. Like, oh no, this guy is also being a derp. What the fuck is it with Germans being derps? Oh god. And they're gonna lose their Vet 5. Or, no. Oh, that's pretty lucky. That's pretty lucky. The, I hope that the Derptiger will not derp all over the Volksgrenadiers. No, but it will completely miss. And it did do some friendly fire, now did it? Oh no, okay, he's lucky. Here comes the Katyusha barrage, explosives everywhere, in the... Yes! In the west we have some derps. This is just kind of like the derp of a lifetime. And oh no, the Panzer IV, what will it ever do? The Panzer IV might actually kill the Su-152. It got the drop on it. The Su-152 right now is not in the best way, but can it escape? Is there anything being sent? Yes, there's an AT gun coming, and there's also the two American vehicles. So yeah, probably the Su-152 will be saved because I don't think the Panzer IV has enough firepower to kill this thing quickly enough. This thing is trying to escape. Come on. No! 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 More derping! More derping. Okay, so what's happening right now is that the pathfinding for the Jackson and the Pershing is being blocked by like the AT gun which is in front. Instead of moving to the side, they're trying to move to like phase through the AT gun and it's not working. However, the Su-152 does survive. barely survives, and the Panzer IV is drifting away, whereas the Pershing and the Jackson are trying to drift after it. So Vin Diesel right now is trying to come in and destroy, I don't know, the Panzer IV, but yeah, he's just escaping. He's just getting out of there. Like, hello, I am a P4. I run away. You just have to sing Katyusha every once in a while. It did get 30 kills in the end. I mean, that's effective, I guess. Oh no, the Derptiger once again was not reloaded. See, I think the last time what happened with the Derptiger was that he thought that he reloaded it, so he moved it in there. And then once he clicked on it and pressed the hotkey, or the button, you know, pressed R or the hotkey to fire on the enemy, because you need to press it to, it's the same hotkey and the same button, right? So you need to press it to get the reticule, you know, the little AoE indicator where you're gonna aim the ability. And by doing that, it accidentally went into reload, because you cannot cancel the reload. So yeah, that's kind of sad. Just like this Jagdpanzer IV's crew, right now it's kind of sad as well, getting completely crushed by the TDs. And here comes more TDs. Oh no, these Panzer IVs are not going to have a good day at all. Getting fired on by the Jackson and the Su-85. Meantime, yeah, whatever's left of the OKW forces are forced away. And the Su-85 just easily putting some shells into the P4, making him go backwards, removing the kebab from the premises and all of that. And yeah, he's also chasing him down just to add insult to injury. Will finally the Derptiger get a good shell? Kind of. It almost killed the Ranger squad. It did finally get something done, but it's just a little bit too late. The Germans are down to 123 points. The Allies are about to establish the triple cap regime. Where did that wheel come from? I do not know, but the German troops around it have been absolutely massacred by American rifle and machine gun fire. And yeah, I think that's going to be in the end, because the Germans just can't do anything else. So I would say the Germans just needed to not be as derpy. Like, I know it sounds retarded, but they just derped with, like, I think it was partially like them kind of shutting off their brains, and then them kind of misclicking sometimes, and then some other times they just got caught off guard. So while they were sort of coming back onto the game, they made a few of these derp mistakes, and that kind of, well, threw them back onto a black hole of ditch and you know, darkness that they can climb out of. So that's about it. That's what I think. I want to thank you all for watching. Okay, okay, I'm sorry. I thought that was a flying creature, and I thought it would have been pretty annoying, but no, it turns out it's kind of like a little thing. I don't know. So I want to thank you all for watching. I hope you've enjoyed, and I will see you soon. This was officially the last replay that I had in my... Damn, that's a lot of mud. That was the officially last replay that I had in my replay folder. So if any of you want to send in a replay, as always, link is in the description. And yeah, I'll see you soon. Have a good day.